Oh, g'day, it's Adam, VK4GHZ. Today we're going to take a look at my Nextion for the K3NG Rotator Controller project. There's an update for the 5-inch Enhanced Nextion, an update for the 3.5-inch Enhanced Nextion, and new for this release, a version for the 3.2-inch Enhanced Nextion. So stick around because we're going to take a look at all of that. That's coming up. All right, we've got three versions to play with now, so let's dive in, take a look. And on the bench here, I've got the 5-inch, the 3.5-inch, and the 3.2-inch. We'll take a closer look at the new 3.2-inch later on. So for now, we'll just concentrate on the updates for the 5 and the 3.5-inch. Now, just to explain the hardware, the 5-inch is being powered off the rotator controller board, which is being powered off the G5500. The 3.5 and the 3.2 are being powered off an external power supply. The 5-inch is the only HMI that is actually talking to the controller board, and these other two displays are actually listening to the controller board. So when I turn the system on, the 5-inch will boot. It will send that FF at the beginning when it's ready and it's awake and it's wants to talk to the MCU. And the MCU will then send a reset to the Nextion, and we'll see the reset occur on the other two. So here we go. On, everything's reset. We're seeing our options displayed here. And this is a bit wobbly because I've got a large electrolytic capacitor and a little tantalum under there across the supply rail. The 5-inch is rather noisy because of the PWM with its backlighting. So I'm running Arduino code version 7 of April 2021 by Goody, K3NG. And this is Nextion version 9th of May 2021 by moi. Now, before you go to update your Nextion, just be aware that your EEPROM will be reset. That's quite deliberate. The reason that came about is that I found a bug. When you assigned user-defined function for a name tag, and I'm guessing not many people use this functionality. However, when you put a name there for UDF4, it accidentally overwrote your preset name tag colors, the foreground color of the name tag, because there was some overlapping EEPROM addresses being used. That's now been fixed, and that actually led me to completely redefining how the EEPROM registers are addressed, like I should have done from the beginning, because previously what would happen is every time there was a read and write command to the EEPROM, it would be defined by a number. So you could have all these numbers, mostly the same on most pages, but that was very error prone. So what I've done now, if you look at the Program S tab, you'll see what I'm talking about here. So if we just scroll down, these are all the variables. These are integers only that are defined here. So all the EEPROM addresses are defined here. You can refer to the EEPROM table that's included in the documentation if you want to peruse that. Now, you'll notice there, this may seem like a waste of EEPROM, but it's actually a requirement. You need 4-byte spacing. So even if you want to store one bit of a byte for a flag, it's still taking up 4 bytes, so that's actually quite deliberate. Name tags and azimuths, elevations for your preset, which is not implemented, but the provision is there if someone wants to do that. They all have been allocated 12 bytes. Everything else just needs 4 bytes. So all that has been defined there, and if we jump into a page, for instance, the main numerals page, and we'll just look at the pre-initialization events of that page. Down the bottom, you can see it's a repo. That's a read EEPROM. It's loading into X, variable X, this EEPROM here, and you can see I've used the mnemonic add for address, preset 1 azimuth. So that's how that works. Previously, there would have been a number there. Another little fix-up. Thank you to, I'm probably going to mangle your name here, buddy, but Andrew, I'm going to call you Andrew. Sierra 56 Victor Lima Victor reported that when the park feature was not enabled, the park button was visible on the satellite tracking page and on the diagnostics page, which was incorrect. So that's both been fixed. In fact, all these buttons, the diagnostics page is more responsive to the features you've set. So if you haven't got something set, so for instance the sun tracking feature is not activated, you should not see those buttons there. So thank you, Andrew. Another change that's been made, the preset name tags here was limited to 6 characters. You can see room's pretty tight. I've actually increased that to 8. So your mileage may vary depending on what page you're on, what screen size you have, and the width of the characters. Characters like W and M are substantially wider. However, there is provision there for 8 characters if you can squeeze them in. The main gauges page on the 5-inch, this expand button, which takes you to the big gauges page, has been, that button has been increased in size just to make it a little bit more user-friendly. The converter page, oh, hang on, what am I doing? Converter page, which is accessed with a long press of go to. This box here, the results box, is wider because I've found, especially on the 5-inch, can't remember on the 3.5, but due to the font size, and the font size has been reduced too, because the result could be chopped off at the end, which was not desirable, so you couldn't read everything. So for instance, I want to convert grid QF22 to a lat long, and so what was happening in the past is that was being cut off. So that's been fixed. Right, major new feature of this version is there's now a page which I've called Contest. This could be handy for both HF and VHF, UHF contesting, where you actually have access now to 8 presets. So for VHF, UHF work, if you know where the active stations are all going to be, you can preload 8 presets worth of azimuth bearings. These presets will force your elevation to 0. I could never quite see the point of wanting elevation presets. I mean, generally anything that's involving elevation will be moving, like the moon, sun or satellite. So why you'd want to preset it to a certain elevation, I don't know. Anyway, the EEPROM table has provision for allowing for elevation presets. If you want to go down that path, that's up to you. However, we've got 8 presets available here now. They all have the name tags available, just as a reminder as to what these presets are. For instance, preset 1, a short press of any of these buttons will take you to that preset value. As you can see, my elevation was sitting at about 10 degrees or whatever it was, and it's forced it down to 0, and it's taken to that azimuth. A long press of any of these buttons will take you to the preset setting page. So they're in the 2 pages of 4. Presets 1 to 4 on this page. Simply touch the box. You can enter your desired bearing, so 122 degrees, enter, touch the name box. If you've already got something in there, you can just backspace and type in some characters, and of course we have 8 characters to play with now. Oh, another change that I implemented on the 5-inch. There's been so many changes in recent weeks, so it's hard to keep up. Anyway, functionality that was meant to be there but wasn't on the 5-inch was the backspace clear button had 2 functions. So a short touch would just simply backspace 1 character at a time, whereas a long touch would clear the whole entry if you just wanted to start from fresh. So that long touch functionality wasn't there. It is now. And on the 3.5-inch, hang on, it's just, let's put my keypad keep value there, so that will take the existing value into the keypad. A long press, 130 backspaces, but for the name, short press will backspace, long press will clear it. Good, all right, so that works. Now, 5-inch, so First presets 1 to 4 on that group there. A long press of any of these presets 5, 6, 7 or 8 will take you to the second group of 4 there, where you can enter all your preset information in. The 3.5 inch space is tight, so we had the first 2 presets there. A long touch of either 3, 4 or 5 will take you to that preset entry page, and a long touch of either 6, 7 or 8 will take you to that final group of presets where you can load all your preset information. Alrighty, let's focus on the 3.2 inch, which is new to this version. So I'm just going to, what I'll do, I'm just going to remove the 5 inch, and I will put the 3.2 inch in its place just so it's talking to the controller board. Reset. Oh, another change I made. I increased the delay at the beginning of the 3.5 inch to 800 milliseconds. So that should help any power up issues and the cheeseburger problem. Now, the 3.2 inch, which I have powering up by default to the gauges page. So let's just have a look at this. All the colors on the 3.2 inch version are preset, they're fixed. Bigger versions of the screens, you had this set colors page. That a lot of the functionality in the 3.2 has been stripped out. Anything to do with the ABC keyboard has gone. Simple reason is, I mean, it's fiddly enough on the 3.5 inch, but the 3.2 inch, forget about it. Again, if you want to implement that yourself, knock yourself out. So anything to do with the alpha key entry has been gone, so there is no go-to functionalities because you can't type in a grid square. There's no name tags for your presets. However, it will display the azimuth bearing for the preset, so that will jog your memory as to what the presets are. There's no internal tracking functionality, so there's no internal moon, sun, satellite tracking. That doesn't stop you, of course, from using your K3NG with an external program like SAT PC32. That will still work, as you'd expect, but there's just no internal tracking capability. There's no help screens, there's no rotator calibration page, no set colors, we talked about that, no ABC keyboard page, and no user-defined functions page either. So the 3.2 inch, even though it's physically not a lot smaller than the 3.5 here, maybe you're really tight for enclosure space, or you just want a basic, no frills, touchscreen user interface, something that's a little bit better than using an ordinary LCD and push buttons. The 3.2 inch could be the screen for you. So just having a closer look, so all these colors, as discussed, are preset. Now, if you do want to change those, it's pretty easy to do. If you're familiar with the Nextion editor, we'll just take a look at that. Click on the component, and over here we have the background and foreground colors. So for instance, I'm not happy with the black, I want to make that red for some reason. Also, don't forget to change the number box here. So that would be red. Elevation, say, no, let's make that, I want a black background, I'd want white text. We'll do this over here. Black background. It's actually a grey text. And you will see the result of that. We'll just jump into the debugger. Now I need to enable a few features. GFEL equals 1. So I'm just toggling these settings. Back onto the page, and you can see those colours are there. So if you do want to change the colours, pretty easy to do. You just need to do that within the Nextion editor for any of the text components. Okay, so we've got 2 presets here. So instead of seeing the name, you can see the actual azimuth value. A short press will take it to that preset value. A long press will take you to the settings page where you can enter your azimuth. Remember, there's no ABC QWERTY keyboard, but we can certainly enter the azimuth in. And I do have my decimal places feature enabled, so you're seeing the decimal place. 222.2. That's it there. All the basic functionality is there. We can go clockwise, counterclockwise, stop, clockwise, stop, up, stop, down. Down here we see the icons for auto park and audible alert, our clock status. Currently I have the GPS feature enabled and hooked up. We're receiving 8 satellites. Now, as you can see, there's not a lot of room there. So if you want to see your location, that is still available, like your lat long and your altitude. That's actually available on the features page of the 3.2. So all the information is still there, it's just on a different page. This is telling me I've set it for the Yaesu GS232B protocol. Elevation features enabled, park is enabled, auto park is enabled, the audible alert is enabled, and GPS is enabled. This is the gauges page. The gauges themselves are actually the same size as 3.5. They're 150 by 150 pixels. They just look bigger on the 3.2 because the pixels are bigger, that's all. But they're actually the same background images. Functionalities here: down, up, stop, counterclock, clock, park. Long press of the park will take you to the park settings page, where you can enter your park azimuth, your park elevation, and your auto park time. A long press of the set button will send that to the MCU and set those features, or set those settings. Up here we've squeezed in the clock status, number of satellites if the GPS feature is enabled, and your park, auto park, and audible alert icons. We still see the time and the grid square up here in our navigation buttons. We'll go forward. This is our presets button. Got some junk in that. Probably haven't stored anything there. Anyway, so there are 4 presets available on this 3.2 inch. A long press, we can set that. I don't think I've got anything in there. So we'll just make that preset for 44 degrees. Preset 3, just going to make that 33 degrees for the sake of it. There we go. And as you can see, as a reminder, we don't have the name tags there, but we do see the actual azimuth values we've stored in our presets. This is our configuration page. It's quite cut down. We've got the main ones here, the keypad keep value. So when you go to a keypad, it will retain the value there. If you don't have that on, it'll go to your keypad with absolutely blank for a fresh start. I like to have that on. We've got our audible alert on at power up, which will force it on if you've turned it off during your session for whatever reason, and that will just turn the audible alert on and off. This is our start page. You probably remember I had that starting on the small gauges page. I'll make that numerals, turn it off, and back on onto the numerals page. If we're on the gauges, we can reverse our elevation. So 0 was on this side, 180 is flipped onto the other side. Screensaver, anything above 0 will kick in the screensaver. A value of 0 disables the screensaver, so in 1 minute time that will dim to 5%. It's our brightness level and our update rate for the azimuth and elevation. The about page. Features. So that's it. It's a no frills version that I've managed to squeeze into the 3.2 inch. It was the other day, it was 10 o'clock in the morning, I looked at the clock, I thought, maybe I could do a 3.2 inch. I'll give myself till midday, 2 hours to modify this to that. 2 a.m. that morning I was still going, and then 3 p.m. the following day I was still going. So there's quite a bit of work even just for what doesn't appear to be a huge change, but it was massive. So there's 3 versions now you can choose from, the 3.2, the 3.5, or the bigger, nicer 5 inch. Just be aware that the 5 inch is actually pretty noisy because of the heavy backlighting requirements. And it's PWM switched, it can be a bit grotty EMC wise. What I've fitted here, I've got a large, what value was that? 1000 microfarad 25 volt capacitor across the 5 volt rail because noise was getting back down the 5 volt rail. And there's also a tantalum across here. And that is the PWM backlight control IC there. Just be aware of your polarities, of course. That does help clean it up a little bit, I've found. To download the Nextion for the K3NG Rotator Controller, head on across to my website, VK4GHZ.com. Up the top, you'll see the downloads button. Click on that. Go to the obvious, the Nextion for the K3NG Rotator Controller. pictures and information there. Scroll down and you'll come across the packages. There's one for the 3.5 inch, further down is the 5 inch, and further down is one for the 3.2 inch. And you can unzip it. You've got the choice of either programming via the HMI, via the Nextion editor, or a micro SD card using the TFT file. So I'm hoping that will be the last update required, unless there's any bugs that have managed to slip through, which always happens for now. So anyway, hope you enjoy that. Take care until the next time. See you then.